Hello everybody, this is Azzuddin Barakat. I'm one of the doctors currently working in the NHS, and this is my playlist for tips and important skills that you need to develop in order to pass the Plab 2 and score very high marks, especially in the interpersonal skills. If you like my channel, if you like my content, subscribe to my channel and don't forget to put a like so that I know this is beneficial to you. And I call this playlist the L in Plab. There is a reason behind it. Give it a thought and tell me your opinion in the comment box below. Today, we will talk about establishing rapport with the patients and common mistakes that may cost you the rapport of the patient. What do we mean by rapport? The rapport is the connection between you and the patient. It is the relation that is built step by step in the station, and if well developed, if well established in the station, the patient will talk to you freely, will open up to you, will tell you all the secrets and all the minor things that you need to know, and that will make big difference in your station. There are some tips that I find very useful on how to establish rapport with the patient, and if not done, it will cost you the rapport. It will make you lose the rapport with the patient. Number one, never ever judge the patient. What happens in Plab is that there are many cultural differences between the UK and our home countries. At least in my case, there are many differences in the culture itself, what is normal, what is abnormal, what is accepted and what is not, and you have to adapt to it. It's not your job to judge the patient, it's not your job to correct the patient on what you believe is wrong or right. You are a doctor, and all what you need to do is a professional consultation between you and the patient on the medical issues only. So for example, I find some people, when they do ask about the lifestyle questions, and then they ask the patient, do you drink alcohol? The patient says, no, I don't. Then they can say, okay, that's good. So that's good. This is a judgment from you, and it's not supposed to be said. It's not your job to tell the patient is it good or bad to drink alcohol. All what you need to say, if the patient alcohol consumption exceeds the allowed limit, which is 14 units for males and females, to give them professional medical advice on this. Otherwise, it's not your job to judge their alcohol or drinking habits. Another example, which was brand new to me before I come here, is the young girls, which age like 14 or 15 years of age, and they come to you requesting oral contraceptive pills. The wrong thing to do is to judge this girl, to tell her that she's doing something wrong or right, to breach the confidentiality, to tell her parents without her acceptance. All of these things are wrong. This is an act of judgment from you on her, and it's not your job. Your medical job is to make sure that there is no risk at all on this young girl, no risk of abuse, no risk of unwanted pregnancy, no risk of sexual transmitted infection. That's your job. If you are satisfied by this, you can prescribe the young girl these pills that she is requesting without judging. It's not your job at all to judge the patient. The second tip is acknowledgement. Always acknowledge what the patient tells you. What do we mean by acknowledgement is to comment and reflect back on what the patient tells you. For example, and again in the lifestyle questions, if you are asking the patient, do you smoke? Do you drink alcohol? And the answer to this was yes, and you didn't follow your question by a second question like how many cigarettes per day you smoke or how much alcohol do you drink in a week, then this will make you lose rapport with the patient. He didn't acknowledge what he said. He will think that if the doctor doesn't want to know how much I smoke or how much I drink, why did he ask me about this question? It also makes no sense in the data gathering part to ask a question and you don't know why you are asking it. We ask about the smoking and we ask about the alcohol not only to know if the patient is drinking or not, if the patient is smoking or not, but to know the amount and the extent of their smoking or of their drinking. So for example, a patient who drinks a glass of wine twice or 3 times daily is totally different to a patient who drinks a glass of wine once a week in the weekends. So always acknowledge what the patient says. Another example of acknowledgement would be if the patient told you something good or something bad, something happy or something sad. If they are expecting a baby, it's fair enough to congratulate them on it. If they had any bad news, any hard experience in their life, and they are sharing it with you, whether it is a loss of a family member, loss of friend, severe pain while they are sitting in front of you, it is fair enough, and it is the thing that's expected from you to reflect on this, show empathy to the patients, and comment on it by any word that you want to use, but acknowledge what they show you and what they said to you. A third tip for establishing rapport with the patient, and this is very, very, very important tip, and will boost your marks in the interpersonal skills, is picking the non-verbal cues that the patient shows to you. Non-verbal cues meaning the things that the patient is showing without speaking of it, without telling you about it in a direct way. It's always, or most of the time, in the body language itself. So it can be avoiding eye contact, it can be holding part of their body, it can be changing their tone of voice. Anything that you pick which is abnormal, always ask about it, reflect it, acknowledge it, but you must comment on it, because the patient is a simulator in the end of the day. He's not a real patient, and because he's doing this, there must be a reason behind it. All what you need to do is to reflect on it, like if you can say, I can see you are holding your arm. Is there any pain in your arm, or is there any problem in your arm? If it is an important thing in the station, the patient will open up to you, will open this pathway to you so that you can talk more about it. If it is irrelevant, if it is something that the patient didn't intend to do, he will close this way on you. He will tell you, no, this is maybe, I'm just holding it when I talk, that's my normal thing. Anything. It will seem so strange if you are talking to someone and he is avoiding eye contact with you, and you don't comment on it, as if that's the normal thing to do. You should comment on this, because in most of the time, it will have a reason behind it, and if you didn't discover it, you will lose the rapport with the patient will not open up to you, and you will lose a good chunk of marks in the interpersonal skills. A fourth tip, which is very important in establishing rapport with the patient, is to actually answer the patient's questions. What happens in the exam with some of the candidates is that they want to ask their questions in specific order, or they want to give their management plan, they want to talk about it in their specific order. And if the patient stops them in the middle, they tend not to answer him, or answer him in an indirect way, and that's wrong. What you need to do is to listen to what the patient is saying, answer him, even if this will mean interruption of your order of thoughts or your order of points that you want to talk about. Even if you don't want to answer it in this specific time, acknowledge this. Let the patient know that you listen to them. Their question is important to them. It's concerning them. Either answer it in the same time, or tell them, okay, I will give you the answer to it when we finish talking about this point, or in any way that you want to say, but never neglect the patient's question, and don't worry about the order of points that you want to talk about. If you are interrupting it to answer a patient's question, that's more important. So those were my 4 tips on how to establish rapport with the patient. If you like my content, subscribe to my channel to get all of my videos, and put a like on this video to let me know that this is beneficial to you. Stay tuned to the next videos, and good luck with your preparation.